Uh, First off, hey guys.
Hey,
First,
howdy.
first LAN in a long time. But you guys have still had a chance recently to test yourself against other international teams, both at Katowice and EPL. I guess what has changed since those tournaments heading into Cologne now?
Well, first off, we started working with David. He's our new coach. Great guy.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, thank you.
but he's brought like a lot of structure. So I think during those times, during the first two tournaments, I was IGLing for Cato, and then Josh had just taken over for Pro League. Was it Pro League? I think it was. Um,
Mhm.
so then bring David in has brought kind of like a lot of like we were pretty all over the place for those two tournaments. And then David kind of came in and structured everything a bit more properly, and Josh kind of got more into the rhythm of, being in charge. So I think we're looking a lot more refined at this point than we were in those two tournaments.
Yeah, another thing that's changed between then and now would just be the way we structured our T sides a little in terms of roles. Like with Alistair picking up the AWP a lot more. Sweet, and that sort of leads into the next question because David, I was going to ask specifically about you coming into that coaching role. I guess what were the big sort of changes you've made as you've stepped in? So I'd already been working with the team as an analyst while they were over there. Um, so I guess some of the big changes of me coming in is just like bringing more structure to the times of practice and the processes that go into every day, just how the team improves. Um, yeah, also just supporting people as they go through their role changes. So helping Josh step into the IGL role as much as I possibly can, which he's been like doing a fantastic job of adjusting into. And then yeah, just trying to make the shift from Sicko to Alistair Orping as smooth as possible. And now with coming off of a bunch of online tournaments and you're heading back to LAN finally, has the preparations changed in any way for those, or are you still heading into it, treating it the same as you were tournaments past?
We prepared pretty equally for like every tournament. We didn't have a huge amount of time for this tournament because of the schedule back home. So we're playing in the ECA season and playing the finals recently to qualify for the next Pro League. So we've kind of just come off the back of that straight into this. So we're using the 3 or 4 days that we have here now as preparation for this tournament. Obviously on the back of us already restructuring all our T sides and stuff like that, which is really the preparation for coming overseas. The way I see it, anyway. But no, we try to prepare the exact same for every tournament, whether it's back home or here. Just yeah, maybe on land we'll play a few more confident angles or something like that. But apart from that, it's the same.
And talking about those tournaments back at home, I think you guys won, I believe, 11 of the 11 ANZ events since that sort of online era started. Do you think you've firmly cemented yourselves at the top of that sort of ANZ scene?
I think probably. I mean, I guess like we definitely cemented ourselves last year. But I think going into this year, there were questions about whether we'd still be number one when Dexter left the team, or I think people thought it would be more hotly contested. And I guess I mean, teams in Australia have definitely gotten better as well over the last like year or two. So I think there are teams who can still take maps off us and even win series against us as we've seen. But I think we've kind of that was kind of in our rebuilding phase, and now I think we're kind of full force again. So we're pretty confident now that we'll be number one for a while.
And if you guys are sort of locked in as that number one, is there another team that you look at in the region that you see maybe as a confident number two to sit behind you? Yeah, I'll take this one. Yeah, I'd say Order the majority of the time definitely look like the number two team in our region, and they're always very challenging to play against. Obviously this team picked up Alistair, who was their main op, and they've picked up Vexa in the meantime, who's proven himself to be a very challenging opponent to play against, and probably some real potential in the region. But Direwolves are another team that you have to mention, talking about the number two spot in AU, because they they are not as consistent as Order, in my opinion. But when they are firing on all cylinders, so to speak, they can be they have a lot of depth to their T sides.
I think you have
And
to.
then there you go.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, I think with the Australian scene, there's like so much like good up and coming talent, and so you've got the established teams of Order who are like established, experienced, kind of. They have like a lot of individual skill in that team, and they play good CS. And then you have a team like Vertex who are kind of like they're passionate, like young guys who are just kind of trying to make a break or make their break. Sorry. And you know, in that tournament, in the ECA season, they beat both Direwolves and Order. So I think with the Australian scene, it's like there's so many good teams who are starting to play good proper CS now, and like I think once individually the players like I think that their style and their structure of practice and stuff like that seems to be really good, and I think individually when they kind of like work on themselves and improve over the next like 6 months, then I think that second place, or I reckon that second place spot will be up for grabs for sure between those three teams, in my opinion.
And then I guess looking at the international teams, the guys that you're going to be going up against here in Cologne, is there any team that you sort of look around and you think maybe you wanna go head to head with them? You want to see how you fare against them?
I don't think specifically any team. I think because it's been like such a long stint of not playing against top teams, I don't know. I think because of the way the tournaments went, or because of the way our team was structured for the last two international tournaments, they didn't really feel as I guess like special as usually when we go overseas and versus European teams. So it feels like it's been quite a while since we've been I guess prepared to verse these teams. So pretty much any team now, I think we're just happy to verse and get the experience and see how we fare up against them. No one really specific.
Yeah, I think our mentality going into Cologne is definitely about managing expectations and just treating it overall as an opportunity to get experience like at a high level of competition. Because ultimately, being stuck in AU for this team for so long just means that you really can't get punished for a lot of your mistakes that you make when you're practicing or playing domestic competitions. And then coming over here, just the experience alone is just like invaluable for team improvement.
Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have prepared. So thank you very much for chatting.
Over Ben.
Well, thanks, Rudy. Appreciate it.